many counts here for Brutus Monroe. Today we'll be creating this lovely card. Let's go over the products I use. From the inspiration box, I'm using the Sprinkled with Love 6x8 stamp set. This is a 30-piece stamp set, and it is a donut themed. So you have your, and they are layering stamps. So you have your main donut, and then several icings to place on and sprinkles to decorate your donut with. Then you have your little half-eaten donuts that you can also decorate if you would like. You have this heart shape that can be a donut or a cookie. Today we're going to use it as our cookie. The smaller sprinkles work best on your half-eaten donut. Then you have icing and sprinkles for your heart shape, and then several designs of your donuts in icing. So there you have those ones. Here are little sprinkles, and these are little hearts. Then you standalone sprinkles and hearts to add to your donuts. This long one down here would be your long john or eclair, whichever you prefer. There's icing, there's swirls, and there's sprinkles, all the goodies for your donut. So you even have a little cherry or strawberry, a little cherry it looks like to me. And then standalone sprinkles. You have great sentiments like nom nom, sweet, I like you a whole lot, which is great for donuts, it's funny. Do not forget how special you are. And then sprinkled with love, which is the one we'll be using today. Along with that, we're going to be using the 6x6 paper collection. It's also called Sprinkled with Love, and it has a nice variety of different patterns inside. This pattern paper pad is double-sided, so you have like this swirl design, many little sprinkles, large sprinkles, clouds. I'm going to move it over a little bit so you can see it better. You have chocolate with sprinkles, some hearts, all different kinds of sprinkles and watercolor hearts, a swirl there, waffle cone, all sorts of fun designs. Very themed oriented for our donuts. I'm going to be using this watercolor heart pattern paper. I pulled it out already, so we have it ready to go. I also have our card base, which is made from Natural Mama's cardstock. And then I have layering cardstock in this medium pink, and I've already used a die cut from my stash that I'm going to use as our layering. I also brought in some cream color cardstock. It's also like a layering weight for my stash, and then a piece of Natural Mama's cardstock that I have sprayed with Chroma mist in pink, which is this one this side right here, and coral, which you can see on this side. So there's two shades of pink. You can tell them apart. Alright, so I'm going to use the cookie shape here on the bottom on the cream, and for our frosting and sprinkles, I'll be stamping that on our Chroma mist panel that we have right here. I'll be using these to create our cookies. I'll be using Raven Detail ink to do all of our stamping, and then I'm bringing in some Distress Oxide and a vintage photo. I'm only going to use that on the cookie part, just to give it that toasted cookie feel. I also die cut from the tier tray die set, the tray right here. Not all the pieces, just most of the pieces. I'm going to use that to have a little place for our little cookies to go. I did that off screen just to save you some time. I have all the pieces right here. And then I also have a little extra piece of Natural Mama's cardstock so we can stamp our sentiment. So these are the little pieces for our tray. I have a little pink bow, my Jelly Roll pen in white, and some embellishments. So let's get started. In my platform, I have my stick and stamp mat. This I use to hold my cardstock for stamping. I have one that I use for all of my chroma glaze and glitter glazes and such, and then I have one that I keep in my stamping platform to hold my paper down. Alright, so I'm going to stamp our little cookie. I'll stamp it twice, but I'm just going to show you once what I do with it. So I'm going to stamp it with our Raven Detail ink, and then I'll clean the stamp in between with a little bit of our squeaky clean stamp cleaner. I'm going to stamp this cookie a total of 5 times. I'm going to show you twice on screen just to save us some time, but I do it a total of 5 times. And you can see how easy it is. Just move it along. Just go ahead, I do that and stamp it. Now I'm going to cut these apart. They are coordinating dies for the stamp set. I do not have them, but they are available. So I just wanted to let you know that. But these are easy to cut out. I just keep my scissors straight, move the paper accordingly. I cut right up to the edge, and look how quickly it goes. It's a simple heart shape, so it's not that difficult to cut out. Once I get that cut, I'm going to bring in the Distress Oxide ink using the little ink sponge dabber. I can't think of what it's called. But anyway, I just ink up the edges so that it gives it that toasted cookie feel. You have to worry about the center because that's going to be covered with our icing. Just the edges will show, and you want it to look like they've been baked. So I'm again bringing in my stamp platform, and I have an extra stick and stamp mat. I'm just using that, so I just switch the mats. I don't have to switch the paper out every time. Just saves me some time. I'm going to show you how easy it is to stamp your icing. I stamp the icing first, which is the, squiggly edge like that right there. And then you can just ice your cookies or donuts like this. But if you prefer sprinkles on yours, you just layer the sprinkle stamp on top of the icing one. And it's easy to line up. Just slide it in there, ink it up as well, stamp it. And then you have sprinkles on your icing. Now I'll color my sprinkles with the Jelly Roll pen and white, and I also bring in a red glitter, or pink glitter I should say, just to have a nice contrast. So here they are, both are fussy cut, and then the inked edges and the icing, not the icing, the sprinkles all colored in. I'm going to just show you how easy it is to layer. You just center that little center V that you have in your heart with the icing and the bottom, and then you have your icing is all layered nice and even. You have that nice edge showing. So here are the rest of our cookies. I did 3 with the regular sprinkles and 2 with the heart. See that little heart one? I added those as our extra heart sprinkle. So there's the red glitter pen and my white gel pen that I used to color in all of our sprinkles. Now our stamps set, we're going to pull from our stamp set the Sprinkled with Love sentiment. I had that little piece. It's about 1.5 or about, let's say 2 by 2 inch little square for our sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and put that into my stamping platform, and I'm going to get that sentiment, and I'll use again our Raven Detail ink. I'm going to center it because I'm going to trim it down here in a second. I'll show you in a moment. So I'm going to get this to go where I need it. I'm trying to use the grid lines on my mat to help make sure that it is centered on there. Alright, so now I'll pick it up and I'll use again my Raven Detail ink to stamp this on here. And I had to pick it up because with my lights it's reflecting on the platform and I couldn't see if everything was centered. And I didn't want to get my head in that camera. Alright, so I'm going to do this twice. I want it nice and dark. There we go. Now that I have it how I want it, I'm going to pick that up. I'll move my platform out of the way. And then that'll give us a moment to go ahead and start building our card. So I put my stamp back in its place because I don't want to misplace it. Alright, so now here are all of our pieces to start our card. So I'm going to go ahead and layer this pattern paper within our die cut panel. And I trimmed this so it fits just inside the die cut panel. And again, I die cut that from die from my stash. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and center this in here, making sure I have a nice edge all the way around. Just like a stitch edge, and I want to stay within that stitched edge. Alright, once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this panel to our card base. And I'm using Barely Art Glue to adhere all of our pieces today, except for any pieces that may have foam adhesive on it. Alright, so once I have that, I have nice layering thing going on, similar to our cookies. So now, excuse me, see, here's our sentiment. I had die cut this little piece of darker pink, pulling from the pink that's in our sprinkles, so I can layer our sentiment. When I placed it just on there at first, it was losing it because I was losing it a bit because our pattern paper is got a nice white background to it, and it's just kind of blending in too much, and I wanted it to stand out. Alright, so I went ahead and trimmed this little white panel with our sentiment down just a bit so it fits within our little die cut piece. And I'm going to layer that. Once I get that completely on there centered, I will use some foam adhesive on the back of that so that we can place it onto our card. So I'm grabbing some foam adhesive really quick. I'm going to place that there. And I just have these long strips of foam adhesive, and I just trim them down as I need it. Normally I use these for my thinner sentiments, but this is the ones I found quickly on my desk, and I just used that. Okay, so now I will remove the backing, get that ready to go, and then I'll set it to the side. Then we'll continue building our card. Alright, so we're going to start with our tier tray. So here it is all put together, and I did the same thing, adding a little bit of some of that distress oxide to it to just darken the wood feel of it. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive, adhesive. It's barely Arco, it's adhesive, to the back of our die cut tray here, and place that onto our card. And you may not see a lot of this. It's mostly for a place to hold our cookies, so they don't look like they're just piled up there or floating there. Now I'm going to adhere 2 of these sprinkled cookies flat onto our tray. So I have that one there, and then I'm using the lighter pink icing cookies towards the bottom here, and then the one that has the coral, I went ahead and put some foam adhesive. It also is the one that has the hearts, so I put that popping it up. Then I have now I have a coral one with the sprinkles. I'm adhering that flat. And then the one with the pink icing with hearts, I have foam adhesive on that, and I'm popping it up on the top tray. Just getting a little bit of variation there. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere our little ribbon. So this is just ribbon from my stash. I went ahead and cut a piece about 12 inches or so, and I did a bow, a nice little bow, keeping long tails so that I can tuck them throughout, and I can trim any that I need off. And then I'm just going to fussy a little bit here because I needed to leave that little edge of my cookie up, and I forgot, so I can tuck my bow. But I just peel it up a little bit, then I'll just add a little more adhesive right there and press it down, and it'll hold it. The foam one I just pop up, press behind it. I just want it to look like it's weaving throughout the trio tray. So here's our sentiment. I thought I was going to go there, but I didn't like it as much, so I'm going to stick it over here, and for some reason it lands better. It feels better to the top left. So I have some embellishments here. I have some sequins and 2 pearl hearts. I'm going to use those to finish off our card. So I'm going to place the little pearl heart here, and that's like in a medium pink, and then a darker pink glitter sprinkle, and a nice white flat not sprinkles, these are sequins. Okay, I have sprinkles on the mind now, and then another one just there, so that you can see all the nice dimension you get, but not so much that you can't stick it in the mail. And our card is finished. So again, we used a tiered tray die set to create that background tray, and the main focus is the Sprinkled with Love stamp set, which we used, along with Chroma Mist in pink, and in coral, a Raven Detail ink, a little Distress Oxide for the cookies, and some gel pen. But if I went too fast on anything I use, oh, let me not forget my Sprinkled with Love pattern paper. I'll have everything in the description box below for you, with links to the store, so that you can find everything easily. Thank you for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration.